We've notified your subscribers that you are live. Is there anything is there anything more scary than the word live?
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh. The things that you
uh
do for our books.
I it's been a wild it came out a week ago. It's been a wild week.
It
Um
is. When you launch a book, it is. Oh, I just got an alert that Tanner Olson is live now. Hi, we have friends joining. Hello. Hopefully that's not like on accident, like on Instagram when people accidentally click in and then they all leave.
I think now when you click it on Instagram, you have to be like you have to like double click it to get in there.
There you
Because
go.
I've gotten sucked into a couple of Instagram lives because I'm like, oh, it's my friend, but I don't have the time to do it. So I just
Right.
like
Yep.
I'm like, well, I'm here now. Um, how did you've released two books.
Yes.
How did you feel after they released?
Oh my gosh. It's kind of like having a baby or adopting a baby. It's this whole process of, like you're doing all this paperwork, you're all this anticipation, and then it's out in the world and you're like, what do I do now? Oh no. Like it can't be undone. So I think it's beautiful and vulnerable and scary and fun all at once.
Okay, can I tell you my pet peeve? That is no longer my pet peeve. So I guess it's like a post pet peeve when people would call their books their babies. And I was like, that's not it. But then after releasing this book, I was like, I think I get it now. Like I'm super proud of the other four books, but there's something about this one where I'm like, this is just like with me forever. And that's kind of the thing. Like now I kind of get why people said it. Anytime they said it, it was kind of cringy to me.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it made
yeah.
sense. But now I'm like, okay, yeah, I get why you want to call it your book, baby. But
Mhm.
maybe we don't have to do that all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Okay,
been a
well,
crazy week though. Yeah,
tell me, like, how has book launch been? What has the reception been from this book? Because I remember when I first read it just, like, on your computer, it was, like, emotional devastation. So what's
yeah.
the feedback you're getting from everybody else?
Honestly, the feedback has been super good. Which is, I was talking with a friend yesterday about it, and I was like, well, it's a children's book about prayer, and it's super cute. So it's really hard not to like. And I think also the message is hopeful and positive and needed. So it's not just a book, but it's also a resource, and it's something that it's not like, oh, we just had a fun little moment. It's like we're going to carry this with us throughout the day. So I was really proud of the idea, and I've been super excited with just like the overwhelming response. And I think that's the word is it's super overwhelming in the best possible way. Um,
Well, this is like the hidden truth about children's books is they're as much for the grown up reading them as they are for the kids. And so it's like such a sweet but not cheesy reminder, And I
yeah.
think that's like a thing that you do really well is you bring a lot of hope and faith into your work, but in a way that feels honest and true. Like when you open the book, it's like this is the little girl's real life, and it's kind of funny and it's sweet and it's kind of messy sometimes. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I really wanted to write a page in there about a meltdown at some point, but we didn't have enough pages for it. That's the thing about writing a children's book, and it's kind of similar to writing like a liturgy or writing a poem, is you
Mm.
really want to like you have this idea of like, okay, it's gonna be this, but then you need to make it shorter. And you need to take this really big idea and put it in a way that people can just kind of hold it and sit with it,
Mhm.
to where it doesn't overwhelm them. Or I don't know about you, but like this is me because I've seen how much you read. When I pick up a book, I'm like, how long is this? I'm like how long am I going to be here for?
Right, right.
Even if I enjoy it, like how long am I going to be here for?
Yeah.
Um, but like that's the thing with the children's book is like how what can I say in as few words as possible while keeping the attention and offering hope?
Right.
Um,
And that's a message that we all need is that we don't have to overcomplicate prayer. It's like
mhm.
such our inclination to think we have to say the right thing or be in a certain space or it's like gosh, if I was more holy, I would be like lighting a candle in the morning and like having this like beautiful space. But really, I'm like bedhead, last minute, getting the kids out the door. But that can be a prayer too,
Yeah.
everything can be a
Yep.
prayer. And I think that you hit on that in such a relatable way.
And the big hope with this book, there's many big hopes. Like, I mean, when you put a book out, you're like, I really hope that people connect with this or they have this kind of takeaway. And you don't really have any control of that. I think that's also one of the hard things is when you release a book, you have no control. Like
Yep.
it is out there and people get to say what they want, which is so terrifying when it comes to reviews. That people get to say what they want, think what they want, and then like do whatever with the book. It's theirs. Like that is their book now.
Yeah.
But my big hope for this book is that it would not just like spark conversations between the adult reader and the child or the children, but that it would remind parents that they can teach their kids how to pray and that they can still pray the way that they did when they were 5, 6, 7. Is to be able to like that they don't have to be like, I'm not a pastor or I didn't go to college for this. Like, yeah,
Mm,
but you can pray. Like
right. Right.
you're still a child. You can still talk to your father. Like, go
Yeah.
for it. Let's see what it sounds like.
Exactly. That's like what I tried to get to with Every Season Sacred. So I wrote this
Mhm,
book because like this is our real life. Like faith is not, something we do sometimes 1 hour on a Sunday morning, but it's like the way we talk to each other, the rhythms that we're entering into
mhm.
every day where we're experiencing God in the midst of all the things that we're doing, all the places we're going, all the people we're with. And I think that, when Jesus says, like, have faith like a child, it's not a simple faith. It's not
Mm-mm.
a basic faith. It's a faith that is like so beautiful and trusting and vibrant and big. And I
Yep.
think you get at that in this book.
Yeah. And it's also like ask your questions.
Mhm.
Like we're just now getting Judah is 18 months old. And so we're starting to use words a little bit. But I
Mhm.
look at him and I'm like, how does he talk to me? And how is that similar to how I should be talking to God?
Mm.
Because
Mhm.
I do think that kids teach us a lot more than what we think they might be teaching us.
Mhm.
Um, but right now, I mean, he's basically showing me just like bring everything you have, give
Mhm.
what you got. And I think that's the same with prayer. Like you can't get it wrong. I
Mhm.
think that's my big takeaway with this book is you just can't get prayer wrong. And I think for so long I thought that I was getting it wrong or that it needed to be different or sound different. Um, but it's not. It's we've complicated something beautiful.
Mm.
Not something simple. We've complicated something beautiful because prayer is
Yeah.
not simple, even though
Mhm.
it is. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Did
So
that
what
make any
what
sense?
what changed for you to kinda go from this space of thinking it had to be a certain kind of way or a certain kind of words or that you couldn't bring your questions or your doubts or your fears or your emotions? Like, what changed from that to, like, writing this book that really is
Yeah.
an invitation that everything
Well,
in our lives can be a prayer?
yeah. I think as we were walking through like unexplained infertility and grief, I think for a lot of us, the grief that we've walked through has really informed our prayer life and how we talk to God. A couple months ago, somebody asked me, like, you wrote a book on prayer or a couple books, like, who or what has taught you the most about prayer? And
Mhm,
the answer was grief. Like, grief has taught me so much about how to show up, how to pray,
mhm,
what can be said, what doesn't need to be said, asking other people to pray for you. I think
mhm.
it's like when you find yourself in seasons of searching or in seasons where there's just not a lot of light,
Yeah.
you begin to see just how loving and kind and
Mhm,
inviting God still is. At least that was my takeaway. It wasn't like my first thought when we were going through the hard stuff,
mhm.
but we eventually got there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there are moments where it's like the only thing we have left is God. And in those moments, we have to decide, like, are we gonna listen? Are we gonna share? Are we going to enter into this ongoing conversation? And for me, I feel like my idea of what prayer is or isn't changed when our daughter Eliza was in the hospital and in the NICU. And it was
Hmm.
like, how do you pray for a situation that's so hard where you don't know what's gonna happen? And people are saying, like, I'll pray for you. Like, what does that even mean? And so I think there's these moments where it's so hard and there's no bow to tie on it. And also it's transformative to the way that you experience
Hmm.
God in your real life.
when you find yourself in those situations or those seasons when you just don't know and you
Mhm.
just don't know what the outcome is going to look like or be.
Mhm.
Um, I have a friend tell me this morning that they were diagnosed with cancer, you know?
Mhm.
And that comes after we just found out about somebody else's cancer and about somebody else with it. It's just the hard stuff just keeps coming. And I know for our friends who are listening and on Substack, all these wonderful, incredible writers,
Mhm.
like we know what it's like to write through the hard things,
Mhm.
um, to try to find the words for the hard situation uh, that you want to like encompass all of the feelings and all of the people.
Mhm.
Or I don't know if are you familiar with the news these days?
The way you asked that.
Kayla, it's pretty rough out there right now.
It is
It's not
not
going
it's not going great. It's
and it
not going
hasn't
great.
been going great. Like it's
Yeah.
just been a lot. And so I think when it comes to writing and writing a book or writing poetry or writing liturgies, it's just like I just got to be honest.
Yeah.
Um and take the hard stuff and try to put words to tie along to it so that I can keep going.
Right. So I want to ask you about that because the question that I get a lot from people who are like, I feel like I have a book in me, or I feel like I want to write, but I have no idea where to begin. As where you sit as a poet and a storyteller and an author times what, four now? What do you tell people?
Okay, I have like 4,000 thoughts about this. If
And
somebody comes
so many good comments popping up too. I just wanna
oh, I can't
name that. Thank you all
oh,
for sharing. So true and so beautiful.
and then if you guys also have questions, we're
Yeah.
gonna be rolling this till like for like another 15 or 20 minutes. So drop
Mhm.
in some questions. If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I think I have a book in me," I say, "I bet you do."
Mm.
'Cause I believe that, like, it's like, I think all of us have something to share, a story to tell, and honestly, like, if you think you've got a book in you, you probably got about 15 or 20. Like,
Mhm.
if that's 'cause I felt the same way, I was like, "I could write a book," and then I started writing down all of my ideas, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Actually, I feel like I could write about 30 books," and I'm sure you feel the same way, whether it's like a children's book or like, oh, a collection of poetry, ooh, a novel, or a trade book, something like that. My suggestion is, 2 things, is to just dump out all of your thoughts like Legos.
Mm.
Don't try to start building anything.
Just don't
Like,
step
just
on them.
don't
That
step
will
on them.
bring a lot of
You don't wanna
pain.
do that.
Yeah.
My gosh. Uh, but, like, dump it all out,
Mhm.
see what you've got,
Mhm.
and then try to make some sense of like a through line or, oh, I could write a story about this. Pay attention to the books that you're reading and the books that strike you or the books when you're like reading, you're like, oh, I want to write a book. Well, there's probably something in this book and maybe you want to write something, not the same, but something very similar or in that direction. And then I would also say like, go to the people around you and ask them, what do you think I want to write a book about?
Mm.
I love asking my friends, "Hey, if I were to create something, what do you think I should create?" Because they see me differently than I see myself.
That's
Uh,
cool.
right? And that's kind of the question I wish that I had been asked when I was in
Mhm.
middle school or high school or
Mhm.
like, "Hey, I should wish I would have asked somebody, what do you see me doing for a career?" Because
Mm.
I knew what I liked, but I also maybe didn't know exactly what I was good at, or if they were like, "I actually see you doing this, man." Like that, I feel like that would have been some good, helpful feedback.
That's good,
Well,
and that's good for me as a parent, as my kids are entering a bit older stages to have conversations like that with them
yeah.
and, kinda see where the spirit leads. When people ask me what I say what I did with To Light Their Way, which is my first book, is I say, "I wrote the book I needed." So I think, like, if there is something Thank you, Laura. If there's something that's like a pain point for you, it's a pain point for somebody else. And I think that's such a beautiful, kind of reorienting what we're writing and why.
The other thing, I had to write down my thought because,
Look at
um
this. He's got a pen right there. He is a writer. Even
oh,
on Substack Live, he's writing things down.
Sharpie wants to sponsor. The other thing is, what do you love to talk about? If
Mm,
because you're gonna be talking about the book that you've written for a very long time. Like,
mhm,
I really wanted to write a book about prayer because I love prayer. I love talking about prayer, and I love the conversations that come out of it. So I think, like, if you love, what do you love talking about, or what have you gone through that you feel comfortable sharing with the world? Something that you've processed or um, like worked through, so that you can get up and share things with others. Um, Okay, we have a how do you push through the negative self-talk that says plenty of people have already spoken to a particular topic, aside from the trite, but not the way you might say it. I feel like that's how it was supposed to be written.
Yes,
What would you
that's
what
amazing.
what would you say?
That's a great question, and it's something I'm honestly struggling with right now in the book that I'm writing. It's daily devotional, and I'm like, "Gosh, has this already been done?" And
Mhm,
I don't know, but what I keep coming back to, not to say like, "But not the way you might say it," but to think like, that is kinda true, like, sometimes cliches are true for a reason, and you are coming from a very I'm a journalism background. Everybody is writing at a certain kind of angle and a
mhm,
certain kind of perspective, and it is true, like,
yep.
you are putting your bent, your slant on things in a way that, your neighbor across the street might not, and so it doesn't mean that your book has to be for everybody, but it's going to meet certain needs because it met your need, and it kinda goes back to what we talked about before.
Yeah, and yes, you have a certain like perspective on the topic, but you also have a different community than the other
Mhm.
audience. Like, you have different audiences and communities, and there might be some overlap as well. But like, you write what you write, and then you take that to the people who are engaging with your work. So you might know about the book that you feel like that's already been written, but maybe they don't.
Yeah.
Um, and like, yeah, it goes. Just give what you've got, and maybe you have what somebody else also
Yeah.
kinda has as well, and that's okay.
And also writing can be a beautiful spiritual practice, like, just for you. And you
Yeah.
don't ha you can write and you can create, and that is sacred and holy whether or not anybody else reads it. So I think
Mhm.
sometimes you think, "Oh, I'm not a writer, I do finance." But, like, writing can be so beautiful, and there are things that can come out on the page that you might not have even realized you were
Mhm.
holding. So writing can just be a beautiful prayer practice,
Yeah.
whether or not it's something that, you're sharing with the world.
Yeah, incredibly, like, cathartic. I remember the first time that I went to counseling, they were like, "You should keep a journal."
Mm.
Like, I think that was the big takeaway from my first time. It was like, they're like, "You should keep a journal." I was like, "That is a great idea. I should do
Mm.
that."
Mhm.
Uh, and then that just turned into an Instagram account. So yeah. But,
Yeah.
Miss Maria Billing says, "Struggling with feeling like there's already so much information on my topic, talking
Mhm.
myself out of writing the post on the daily." I I don't know. I feel like my, response to that would be like, "M maybe, but you should still write it. I feel like
Mhm.
it's something you keep coming back to." Because sometimes I think the things that, like, if I see somebody else has written something that I want to write, I just use that as encouragement to write my own words,
Mhm.
or
Yeah, it
to be
shows a proof
inspired
of
by them.
concept, right? Like when you write a
Yeah.
book, you have a proposal and you have to share what's called comps, which are
Yeah.
other books in that realm. So like that's actually a can be a good thing. And I think
Yeah.
it's also important to examine why that keeps coming up. Like why does this theme keep coming up that you want to write about? I'm in a spiritual direction program, becoming a spiritual director. I was talking to my friend Tasha, who also is, and she's also a writer here on Substack, but she was telling me about visualizing a beach ball. And you know how they'll always come back to the surface when you
Yep.
push it down? If something keeps coming back, even though you're pushing it down, that's maybe a good indicator that that's something to pay attention to.
My 2 favorite questions that I have been asked, and this kind of comes back to prayer as well, and writing, but, like, what is God up to, and how can I be part of it? And I feel like that's kinda the same with the beach ball. You push it under the water, it pops back up. God, what are you up to? How
Mhm.
can I be part of it? And does that mean that I need to write about this thing that I'm either scared to write, hesitant to write, don't know how to write? And I think the other part too is, like, you don't have to share it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can just you can just write it. So I don't know, that's kind of my, And that's kind of what I count. One of the reasons why I landed on writing about prayer is I was paying attention, which is like rule number one for living in writing, was paying attention to what was happening in our life and watching all of our friends start to have kids. And although we were walking through grief, my I wanted to respond in a way that Tanner would respond. And that
Mhm.
was with by giving a gift to the people that I
Mm,
love. And I wanted to give them a book about prayer so that when they found themselves in a hard season, because I think we know this about every human being, you're going through something or you're about to go through something. I want you to have that in your tool belt, in
yeah.
your toolkit of like, now is a good time to pray.
Mm.
Why is now a good time to pray? Because I'm alive.
That's exactly right. We have breath in our
Yeah.
lungs.
Yep.
That is it. Show your book again, just so for people that are
Oh,
hopping on now. So this is Tanner and his amazing new kids book, All the Things I Say to God. Do you want to just like show us some pages?
oh my gosh. Can I
Because
show you
the
my
illustrations are
so good?
so
So
good.
good. And that's maybe my favorite part about writing a children's book is like I did the words. I didn't do everyone's like, it looks so beautiful. Like, but what did you think about the words? Right.
Right, right. But you cried, right? Which
Yeah.
to be fair, I did
Yeah.
tear up. So, you know.
Uh here's one of my favorite pages, and I think I just skipped it. Here's one. It's them praying at the window. I just think, okay, there's that. Um,
And
and
anyone
then
who's had a little one in their life or a dog in their life has seen that scene.
I have like 40 of those pictures from yesterday on my phone.
Yes,
And then this one of the dad and the baby and the dog. It just get like there's just these small
so
things, and it's been
sweet.
so fun to uh it was so fun not just to write the book, but then to kind of collaborate on like with Anita and her designs and to share a couple of things and be like, can we do it like this? I love what you did here. Can you add this or take this out? And it was
Mhm,
just super collaborative. Anita is such an incredible artist. And
mhm.
I, going into this, they're like, what do you want it to look like? I was like, I just want it to be fun and
Yeah,
cute. So if
yeah.
it looks cute and fun, like I'm all in. And I think we nailed
And
it.
it's that and it gives you such a, like, beautiful invitation, and it's also not
Hmm.
too long. Sometimes kids'
Yeah.
book can start to be, like, this whole journey,
Yep.
and I appreciate that you're like, "You know what? We only have so much margin to give," and that's kind of the point of the book, right? Is, like, you don't have to overthink things.
Well, I wasn't the one who said that. It was the editors who were like, "Hey, buddy, it's a little bit too long. You're gonna have to cut this
They're like,
thing way down."
"100 pages is great.
Oh yeah.
Also, we're gonna need to
Oh,
take a
I
break."
had well, there's like some parts of the book too that like they're no that we had to take some stuff out. Like there was a whole scene where Abby was just having a really bad day. And like the conversation then turned like you can pray when you're sad. And we were able to find ways to add that in, but it was like it was a real big focus because like sad, frustrated, like go through all of the, the baseline emotions. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that. But I'm really glad the book is the way that it is because I think that it made sense and it just I it leaves room for conversation. And as Judah gets older, like I want to find those books and write those books that leads us to have good
That's what I was
conversations.
thinking. Well, it sounds like you have more kids' books in you if you have
Oh,
already.
buckle up. Oh,
Yeah.
it's like it's my computer is full of these ideas.
Yeah.
I know you feel the same way too. And I mean, our Substack friends, like you write one thing and you're like, "Oh, I have an idea for this." You give yourself a little bit of space or somebody says,
Mhm.
"Hey, that's a good book." You're like, "Well, I can write 30 more. I'll do it tomorrow." You know? Like clear my calendar. Let's do it. Um, so I'm just overall thrilled and thank you so much for being on my team. Like it's been such a joy to actually become real life friends, you
I
know? Like
know.
we're internet friends and now we're real life friends. We actually got to do a show together, an event together. I
That's
forget what month that was.
I don't
It
even
was
know.
last
I don't
year.
know what is
November?
time. I don't know, but it happened.
I thought it was October a couple
I
weeks ago.
yeah.
It's not. It's
Fall.
not. Um,
No, it's
no.
fine. But you
Hey,
know what?
tell
I
us.
was gonna say May is, such a full month for so many families. And I was thinking like some schools do like preschool graduation, kindergarten graduation, even like fifth grade graduation. This book would be such a sweet gift to, like, write a note in, give it a lot, like, pass it along. It's so sweet.
I thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Um, we're gonna wrap up real soon, but if there's
Okay.
a couple of questions that we can answer for anybody about writing or our books or whatever, but Kayla, would you tell us more about what you're working on right now? Because I'm real excited about it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm working on my 3rd book. I'm super excited. I'm exploring breath and prayer and also kind of like how do we hold on to hope when all of this is happening in our world. So, I definitely like always try to hold that like inner work and then outer,
Mhm.
actually living out, those values. So holding
300
holding a lot. I right now am in the like spreadsheet world, which I'm a word
Yeah.
person, so being in spreadsheet world is a little stressful for me, but I'm just trying to stay faithful to the work and write the book that I need because I need some encouragement right now.
So
that
it's
that feels real. That doesn't feel
oh, mhm.
trite or contrived. Yeah.
Well, we were talking with some friends last night about, I often in my writing, it comes up, the phrase that everything will be okay.
Mm.
And I believe that is true. And when I say everything will be okay, I know that at the very end, all things will be made okay. Like
Yeah.
everything will be made right. Like that's when I say that, that's what I think of. But I also understand that sometimes those words aren't for everybody at a certain time in their life. And so it's hard to find words for every situation, emotion, scenario.
Mm.
And I think that's a great, like, if you're writing a 365-day devotion thought, like something to offer, like there's going to be something in there, hopefully again and again for people who maybe don't connect with this bit of hope, but they connect
Mhm.
with this bit of hope.
Right, right. Yeah.
How many pages do you
You know
have
what? We
done?
don't
How
we
many
don't
days?
need to talk about that right
That's
now.
that's a fair answer. Well,
Yeah.
I am so excited. I'm excited for when the book comes out.
Thank you. We'll
That's
do
such a
this again.
Oh yes, we should.
Yeah.
This was fun. And I think this, I honestly have no idea. I've only done one of these with our buddy Blake Roberts. Shout out Blake. Uh, but we did it last week, and I think it becomes a post. So
Okay, great.
I think that's
Cool.
how it works.
Well, I just feel like we could talk about prayer and writing and creativity and real life and parenting. We could talk about that forever. But do you have like one final kind of send off for us? Do you have a poem that you're just gonna like make up on the spot?
Oh, on the spot. Oh, I don't freestyle. I don't freestyle. I wish I could. I wish I could freestyle. Um, actually, I just started. I started jotting something down right before this. But I'm not gonna read. I'm not gonna read that. But can I read you the poem that's gonna be posted tomorrow?
Yes. Oh, we're getting a
Uh,
sneak peek.
it is, and now nobody's gonna open it up tomorrow when it hits because they'll have already.
No, they're gonna want it written down. Like, "Oh, I heard it. It was so good. I need to open it." So everybody open it.
I wrote this after all of like this week because it's been a lot of really good. But I found myself just saying like I cannot keep up. And also part of it is like we're in the adoption process again. We're about to pack up for the summer. My wife works in Michigan, so we leave Nashville for 3 months. So we're like packing everything up. We're saying goodbye to friends. I'm going to California
Wow.
tomorrow, Thursday, for a couple of days. So Fremont, California, and Monterey, California. I'm
Okay.
gonna come
So
see you. So
Californians, if
if
you're
any of you, I'll
yeah.
be there, and the events are free. But then I wanted to write about like I can't keep up, and it's a good thing, and it's a beautiful thing, and it goes like this: I cannot keep up. There's too much going on, too much noise, too many names, too many waves crashing in without warning. New trends, new styles, everyone sprinting in shoes I never asked to wear. And yes, I know we're meant to grow, meant to change, but I'm more like a tree than a machine. Roots deep, branches slow dancing with the wind, bearing fruit in season, not on demand.
Mm.
I don't move fast, but I move true. I can only be me just like you can only be you. And this morning, I sat with the sky as it stretched from black to gold, and I heard the silence speak. You weren't made to keep up. You were made to show up, not to chase every echo, but to stay, to breathe, to give what you've got like it's enough because it is, to let go, to give, to love, to live. And
Mm.
I'll keep doing that. Not because the world says I should, but because the Maker invites us into something good.
Mm.
That's what I've got.
Amen. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. This was so fun. We're gonna have to do this again, and I think next time we do it, we should probably have people send in some questions
That would
before.
be great.
Um,
Yeah.
this was fun. This was
This
fun,
was
and then
fun.
we can like give updates on book journeys. Be
There
like,
you
all
go.
right, so you have 217 of 365 days
I
done.
I need some
This is
accountability, to be fair,
this is
so
yeah. We this will all 94 of us are your new
thank
accountability
you, you're
group.
my new accountability group. I need you.
Um, awesome. Your books are on Amazon and your website. Uh, mine Everyone just please go get it and leave an Amazon review. That's all I
Yes.
gotta say. I think that's the hardest part right now is you invite people, you suggest to people, you say, "You should go get my book." And then they buy it and you're like, "Thank you so." Like, I felt so bad the last couple of weeks. I posted, like, I had people were like, "I got your book. Thank you so much. Hey, would you also leave an Amazon review?" Like,
Mhm. It's
the
such
work.
it's such
Yeah.
a gift. It's such a gift that we can
Yeah.
give, authors and creators, and it feels terrible to ask for. Like,
Oh,
we
it's horrible.
hate it. We hate doing it. But
It's
you know
terrible.
what? I love writing reviews for books that have been meaningful to me. So
So does that mean
I
that you've written one for, all the things I said, guy?
I need to do that. Thanks for the reminder, Tanner. I'll do it right now.
All right. Thanks for hanging out, friend. I appreciate you so much, and, I'll talk to you soon. Probably
Okay.
on here.
Sounds
All right.
good. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.